Hey everybody, Jake Reichbart here. Today I'm going to share with you a lengthy lesson excerpt. So have your guitars ready and we're going to have some fun together arranging a song. Perhaps you've seen some of my many hundreds of solo guitar arrangements I have here on YouTube, and the inspiration for these arrangements is right here behind me, as you can see. I grew up with these vinyls, and I draw pretty much from any kind of style imaginable from the pop music of the past 100 years, everything from Glenn Miller to Van Halen, Alan Holdsworth to Motown, and pretty much anything in between. Beatles, I have perhaps 25 Beatles song arrangements, 20 Steely Dan song arrangements, same for Stevie Wonder, rock, hard rock, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and of course tons and tons of classic jazz standards from the 40s and 50s, bebop, dance tunes, movie themes. And if you want to learn how to arrange any of these songs for solo guitar, I can teach you. Just like the excerpt that you're about to watch, which comes from a lesson that runs about 90 minutes, I have nearly 200 additional titles, and they are mostly song specific. I enjoy teaching through specific songs because I can show you hands-on how I approach arranging a song. What's nice about these lessons is that I don't just tell you, do this and you're done, but rather I'll take you through 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to play the same passage. I'll work with you on dynamics, on articulation, and 100 other things that you cannot just put to paper. As I mentioned, these lessons run approximately 90 minutes. The introduction, which runs usually 15 minutes, focuses on the right hand and rhythm, and in this introduction I go through my 3 pillars of rhythmic arranging, the first principle being melody and bass only, the second being rhythmic arpeggiation, and the third, of course, the down stroke that I play with my right hand fingernails to produce that backbeat that everybody asks me about. Nevertheless, I do have 2 main method lessons. The first one, how to arrange any song for solo guitar, running 2 hours, and also an introduction to fingerstyle guitar and solo guitar arranging, running 2 hours and 40 minutes. The information about these lessons, the cost, my full lesson list, as well as a link to the full performance of the song that we're working on today is below in the information. So expand the information, take a look, and let's get started. The tune starts with that electric piano riff. So let's look at that. In the first position, I play the A on 3rd string, 2nd fret, and alternate it with the open A, 5th string. And I play one of these and 2 of these. And the articulation, there's, we're talking about minutia here, but still, it's worth mentioning. You can play this note to sustain, so they ring together, or you can stop it. So that's one of those things that kind of connect to what I mentioned earlier. So we don't have the lyrics, but we have a lot of guitar things we can do to keep things interesting and to kind of add a little bit of our own interpretation and our own personal take. So that's an example of one little thing that you can decide how you want to play. You want to sustain the A, or you want to play it cut. Okay, so next we have 2 triads, and right away there's a fingering issue a fingering situation that might be an issue for you. We'll tackle that. But we have 2 triads that really only, they're not a new harmony. The whole section is A minor 7, but these triads are diatonic to A minor. So the first one of these is a B minor, and triad means 3 notes. I play 4 notes, but 1 is doubled, and that's the top note that I'm playing on the 1st string. I double it with the same note an octave lower on the 4th string. So my fingering looks like this. From the top, F sharp, D, B, and another F sharp. On the first string, second string, third string, fourth string, frets 2, 3, 4, and 4. And here's that situation I was referring to. I use an awkward fingering to produce the next chord. But anyway, what are the notes, first of all? They are diatonically up one step in the key. And what is the key? Momentarily, the key is like an A minor Dorian, which means that we are using notes in the key of G. And I can infer all of that just by playing these two chords. That's enough information for me to tell me that we're in the key of G. Because of the notes, we know that we're minor, and we know that we have a natural 13. And that's all I need to know, because the other minor keys in the diatonic system have a flat 13. But that's just at this moment. Just 2 moments from now, we're going to play an F chord, and then we're not in A anymore, in the key of G anymore. And one more thing, that to say that we're in the key of G, that misses the point. We're not in the key of G. We're in A minor, but we are using notes from the key of G to get that A minor Dorian sound. Meaning with the F sharp. All right. So this fingering of the B minor over A should be simple enough to play. And what happens now is that in the key of G, each note now moves up one diatonic step in the scale. So this moves here, this moves here, this moves here, and this moves here. And we get this voicing, which does the same thing. We have now a C triad, so G, E, and C, with the top note doubled an octave lower on the fourth string. The problem with this fingering is that I do it in an awkward way that might not suit you. What I do is I catch these 3 notes, G, C, and E, the C triad, in effect, with my pinky, and because I can bend it in a certain way, I have room underneath it to play this G on top. And I realize that this is a fingering that works for less than 50% of the people. So there are solutions. First of all, you can do it with a different finger, maybe the third, or even the second. You can do it with separate fingers, classical style. Or another solution, instead of playing 4-note chords, we can just play 3-note chords. It's too bad to miss out on the 4th note because the voicing is really a lot thicker that way. This note at the bottom reinforces the top note a lot. It gives it a lot more meat. So it'd be good if you can find a way to finger this. If not this way, then maybe this way. Or, like I said, with separate fingers. This style of fingering is easy for classical players and difficult for me. So everybody has their own way of doing things. Like I said, worst case, you just play the top 3 notes. Like this. All right. Notice the arpeggiation. And actually, I misspoke there. For now, there is nothing. Before the drum comes in, there is none of that arpeggiation. The chord just sits there. And now, you notice the rhythmic difference. The part is essentially the same, but all of a sudden, halfway through, when the drums came in the original, and I'm doing my downstroke, the rhythmic feel is different. I add the arpeggiation, and I also change what I do in the bass. I no longer play I play now E, or like E, G, A. Or I make up a bass line. And that's another point that I often mention in my lessons. You know, what is the bass line that you're going to play? Well, you will copy what we can from the original, but unless there's something like really unique to the bass line in the original, I'll play something that works, that is appropriate, that kind of approximates or imitates the original good enough. So unless we have some really specific bass line like in Billie Jean, and you really want to try to bring that to your arrangement, you know, then playing a bass line that's close enough is good enough, in fact. And that's what I do here. I copy this bass line because it's the very first thing that we hear, actually. So I want to make sure to bring that. But once the drums come in and things change a little bit, I'll play with the bass line. And one more thing that I'm noticing that I'm doing, when I play E, right after E and A, right after I play the E, I kill off the E quickly, because what we don't want is these two notes ringing together. That's a lot of mud. So what I do is after I play the E, I'll kill it off right away with the palm, with the base of the hand like that. And we are at the verse.